interesting for all of us. So basically, thank you so much for joining us. This session is actually arranged by the Indonesia Sommelier Association as well as the Hatan Education Center. So the idea is with this program is supporting our sommelier in all over Indonesia, basically, and we are delighted as well that a couple of a couple of friends overseas is also join us on the session, especially that with this condition that most of our colleague is at home. The hotel, restaurant, and everything in Bali, Indonesia, mostly closed. So it's a little bit hard time for us here. But we believe that by this session is giving the motivation to everybody to keep study and keep learning about the wine. So we are very honored that on this session we have the. It's not when I call Davide because we met a couple times in Jakarta and Bali. We started talking about this session, talking about the Italian wine, but Davide come with a super idea, which is inviting also the owner. So we are very happy, we are very honored to have the Fiorenzo Dogliani as the owner of the Beni di Batasiolo. Will be also presenting to us and tell us very special about specifically in Barolo. You see that the bottle already. They will be presenting to us 5 single vignette of the Barolo, which is something very, very interesting for us. So without further ado, Davide is the export manager. Usually, Davide will be in charge based in Thailand, but in this case, you'll not be able to go back to Thailand yet. And also, we have Miss Paula on the side helping us on the translator. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Welcome everyone. I would like to thank, of course, Widya and the Sommelier Bali Association for the opportunity. Like Widya said, I'm based in Bangkok for the past 20 years, but now I've been stuck here in Italy since the 8th of March, and for a couple of other months I will be here in Italy. Next to me, there is Fiorenzo Dogliani, that is the owner of Batasiolo. And he will explain to you regarding the company. Batasiolo, we are based in La Morra, Barolo, and we are a Barolo producer. I will let Fiorenzo speak in Italian and I will translate for him to you directly.
All right, thank you so much.
Buongiorno a tutti. Vabbè, la Batasiolo è un'azienda, come ha detto papà Davide, cioè La Morra, cioè in Piemonte, nelle Langhe. Un'azienda di 130 ettari di vigneti di produzione, di cui 75 ettari sono a Nebbiolo da Barolo.
So Fiorenzo and his brother are the third generation in the wine business, and Batasiolo is a family-owned company. Batasiolo owns 133 hectares of vineyards here in Piedmont, and 63 hectares of that are for Nebbiolo for Barolo. And so Batasiolo is the largest owner of the land in Barolo and owns 10% of the total Barolo land here.
A parte il Barolo si produce anche Barbera, Dolcetto, Gavi, tutti, Moscato, Barbera d'Alba, tutti i vini della regione proprio delle Langhe, cioè del Piemonte.
Outside of the Nebbiolo grapes that we use to produce Nebbiolo, Barolo and Barbaresco, we produce all the typical grape variety from Piedmont. Barbera, Dolcetto, Cortese for Gavi di Gavi, Arneis, Moscato e Chardonnay.
L'azienda produce in totale oggi di bottiglie 2,5 milioni di bottiglie di vini fermi, di vini non sparkling.
Our total production for still wines is 2.5 million bottles per year.
E un altro istante di 2 milioni di bottiglie di sparkling.
And we produce another 2 million bottles of sparkling wines.
Un'azienda che oggi esportiamo in circa 70 paesi del mondo.
We are exporting at the moment in 70 countries around the world.
E purtroppo con questa crisi è il momento che siamo tutti quasi fermi, cioè qualcosa si fa ma poco, perché purtroppo tutto il mondo è tutto fermo.
And unfortunately for the COVID situation, it's the first time in our history that we are not traveling, and most of the countries in the world at the moment are stopped or in standby, and so it's a really strange situation for all of us, like for all of you around the world.
Però piano piano cerchiamo, poco per volta, non bisogna allarmarci troppo, perché purtroppo secondo me deve continuare, non è che si deve fermare tutto in questo momento.
We are not worried, we cannot stop, and so we are working in the vineyards at the moment. The weather is good here, and there will be a good vintage, and we are hoping that for the, let's say, the winter season or the autumn season, the things will get better for everyone of us around the world.
Speriamo che nel prossimo anno, secondo me, deve riprendersi, cioè in generale, un po' tutto.
And so we hope that the business will pick it up next year, starting from January, and we hope that, of course, next year will be much better than what we have seen so far.
Also because we have some beautiful grapes this year, really beautiful, and a lot of grape growing up. Yes, very beautiful.
Okay.
So we can start the presentation for the company, and so we have a PowerPoint presentation, and so we can go through some image and some more details regarding the Batasiolo winery and the cellar.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, here we are.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Io faccio andare o andiamo avanti?
Kok ada yang bisa nulis komen ya? Kok ada yang bisa?
Where we are.
Sorry.
Okay.
È quella freccia lì, questa.
Okay, so this one that you can see the photo is our cellar. Fiorenzo will say something about the territory and the cellar of Batasiolo.
Questa è la collina proprio Batasiolo, e dove c'è lo vedete la cantina, è sempre sotto il comune di Lamorra, e sono 12 ettari di nebbiolo da Barolo.
Okay, this one is the hill behind the cellar, and we are taking the name of the company from the name of the hill, because it's Batasiolo. It's 12 hectares of nebbiolo for Barolo, surrounding the cellar.
In alto, in basso invece Chardonnay, in basso della collina sono Chardonnay.
Instead of down on the hill on the flat land, we have Chardonnay, but for sparkling. So for Pinot Chardonnay Spumante and this kind of wines, not for still wines.
Lucia Bofani.
Questo è Bofani, Lucia, sotto il comune di Monforte d'Alba. Questi sono 9 ettari, anche qui nebbiolo da Barolo di produzione, e una parte sempre in basso è Chardonnay.
So this one is the vineyards called Bofani, and this one is the production for our single vineyards Barolo Bofani. We produce Nebbiolo, and we have also a small production for Chardonnay, but in this case for still wine, for the Servato and for the Morino.
Sarmassa.
Questa è
Zonchetta.
Zonchetta e Sarmassa, sempre sotto il comune di Sarmassa, sotto il comune di Barolo, e Zonchetta sotto il comune di Lamorra. Queste qui sono 17 ettari in tutto il totale di tutte e due le aziende.
So these vineyards belongs to two different villages of Lamorra and Barolo, and the Sarmassa Zonchetta is 17 hectares, and we produce Dolcetto.
C'è Dolcetto, c'è Nebbiolo da Barolo,
Nebbiolo from Barolo,
e un po' di Barbera.
And some Barbera as well.
Vico San Pietro.
Vico San Pietro e Monforte d'Alba, Tantesi, l'azienda Tantesi. Questa qui sono 13 ettari, una parte di Nebbiolo da Barolo e una parte è Barbera d'Alba.
Okay, and so this the single vineyard Tantesi instead is in Monforte d'Alba, is 13 hectares, and we produce Nebbiolo and Barbera.
Ricco di Vergne.
Ricco di Vergne è sotto il comune di Lamorra. L'azienda qua, anche qui sono circa 15 ettari, e c'è Dolcetto Bricco Vergne di produzione, Barbera d'Alba Sovrana, e una parte di Barolo, che facciamo il Barolo generale, non cru.
Okay. The Bricco di Vergne instead is a vineyards where we produce our single vineyards called Dolcetto Bricco di Vergne, and we have also some production for our Barbera d'Alba Sovrana.
Morino?
Morino è un'azienda dove produciamo Chardonnay, è una parte di Nebbiolo, produciamo sotto il comune di La Morra, e facciamo il Chardonnay cru single vigna Morino.
The single vineyards Morino, that is our Chardonnay, top Chardonnay, is produced in these vineyards, that is in La Morra village. We have also inside this land some production for Nebbiolo, for Barolo.
Cerecchio è in comune di La Morra, un'azienda, cioè un vigneto molto piccolo, perché sono circa...
Dovresti levare quel bicchiere. Quello perché la telecamera.
Circa 3 ettari.
Quella là.
E si fa una produzione in totale, diciamo, di 10-12.000 bottiglie di cru single vigna Barolo Cerecchio.
So Cerecchio is a small vineyard. We are talking about 3 hectares, produce only Nebbiolo for our single vineyards, that is this one, the Barolo Cerecchio. And we produce around 12 to 15,000 bottles per year of this cru, the single vineyards.
Brunate sempre sulla comune di La Morra, anche qui una collina sull'esposizione molto sul sole, cioè anche qui una produzione molto limitata, sono circa sui 2,5 ettari, e una produzione sempre di 10.000-11.000 bottiglie di Barolo cru single vigna.
Brunate is also in La Morra, and we have also again a production of 15,000 bottles. Has a good exposition to south, to southwest, to the sun, and is one of our latest addition in terms of single vineyards.
Briccolina?
Briccolina in Serra Lunga d'Alba, un vigneto molto piccolo che è 1 ettaro, una produzione molto limitata, però è molto esposta a un'esposizione che sia per le correnti d'aria, sia per il sole, diciamo, l'altitudine, poi il terreno di Serralunga, che è un terreno molto argilloso e dà un prodotto sempre eccezionale, cioè di Barolo, di cui si fa una produzione circa di 9.000 bottiglie l'anno.
Briccolina is our smallest property and is our top single vineyards Barolo. Is a perfect exposure to the south. The land is sandstone, and has this beautiful wine that is our most elegant and the one that also usually age longer than all our other single vineyards.
Lo Scareto?
Lo Scareto sempre Serra Lunga d'Alba, è l'azienda, diciamo, che come quantità di vigneti, come estensione la più grande, che sono 33 ettari, di cui una parte 12 ettari sono di Moscato d'Asti, Bosco dell'Arei, e il resto è tutto Nebbiolo da Barolo, e facciamo tutto un single vigna, Boscareto, Nebbiolo Boscareto.
So this one is our largest single vineyards property. We are talking about 33 hectares in total of vineyards. 12 of them are for Moscato, our single vineyards, Moscato d'Asti, Bosco del Re. All the other instead are for the Nebbiolo, for the production of the Barolo Boscareto that is here.
La nostra forza dice, vabbè, qui andiamo avanti, il barricco.
So here you can see in the image, we call it our strength, that is all the land that Batasiolo owns, the 5 single vineyards that we are going to taste today, the barrique, the amount that we using for the aging process, all new barrique, and
The oak barrel.
the oak barrels, the big one that we use for the Barolo and the Barolo Riserva.
No, se ce l'ho pronto. Vado avanti. This
So,
is the cellar.
okay, this one that you see the photo are the cellar that has been built a few years ago, 5 years ago, I think, the new one.
5 anni fa, no?
And it's because Batasiolo has been enlarged and developed because the production has been increased in the past 10 years. And this one is the new cellar that we have for the single vineyards, and where we keep the new barrique for the aging process. Of course, we use, like you can see, in the middle of the cellar, we have a small testing room, a small space that we do events. And we hope one day we can invite all of you here when we can travel again.
Wow, thank you. Very nice.
Fiorenzo.
This one is Fiorenzo, the owner of the company.
Era di qualche anno fa quella lì,
But the photo is quite old, now it's been aged.
Yeah.
So.
This is some of our production wine. Ecco, basta.
Okay. Perfect. So this one is the finish for the PowerPoint.
All right.
Aspetta.
Try to go back. One
All right.
second.
Before you, I mean, I believe that you also want to express the testing for the single Barolo. But for those who having a question, please also just put on the chat, and we can have also the discussion if you want to have the question. There's a question about, so what is the type of the soil mostly on La More or La Mora?
La Morra is the name of the village.
Okay. What is the soil mostly on that area?
Okay, Paola will take it on now because she's better looking than me.
Okay.
So La Morra, we have some kind of Barolo which are smoother and ready to drink before, usually, than the wines from like Serra Lunga d'Alba. It's a very special kind of soil. It's called Helvetian, and it's like a more sandy soil, yeah, and blue marl, and very elegant, and give you a very elegant wine with some very aromatic notes, some spicy notes, special to the wines. Vuoi dire qualcosa sul...
Vabbè, la Morra, diciamo come Barolo, produzione di Barolo, è un Barolo che viene più di pronta beva, cioè viene più bevibile dopo i 3 anni di invecchiamento, è già un Barolo più facile da bere, confronto a Serralunga oppure anche Tantesi, cioè Monforte d'Alba, che se ci va molto più anni, bisogna lasciarlo riposare molto di più per avere una degustazione, avere un prodotto finito. Serralunga diciamo che ci va circa sui 9-10 anni, cioè La Morra, Cerecchio, Brunate, i 5-6 anni sono pronti già da bere subito.
So Fiorenzo is saying that the wines from La Morra are ready to drink before. You can drink it after 3 or 4 years, ready to drink. You don't have to wait like 7 to 9 years like the wine from Serra Lunga d'Alba, the Barolo from Serra Lunga d'Alba. It's a kind of soil, it's a kind of wine easier to drink. Okay. Smoother wine.
È molto importante, questo viene dal terreno, la prima cosa è il terroir.
And this is because of the soil.
Poi c'è l'altitudine del vigneto, le correnti d'aria, è molto importante.
And also the soil and the elevation, and the elevation is about 300 to 350 meters. Okay. In Serra Lunga d'Alba we have like 400 meters, it's higher. And the temperature is very different. Even if the hills are very close to each other, every hill is different from the other, and the soil is particular in every hill.
Cioè, purtroppo le langhe, se hanno conoscenza delle langhe, sono tutte colline come vedete, e c'è molta differenza tra una collina e l'altra, proprio sia delle correnti d'aria, l'altitudine, il terreno, è molto importante.
So it's very important the elevation and the soil in every hill. That's why all the crews are so different from each other.
Okay. Can you also give us the short brief about the crews of the Barolo and what is their name? The question is like that.
Yes, so our crews are, we have 2 crews from La Morra, which are Brunate and Cerecchio. Brunate, okay. And Cerecchio. These are from La Morra, and these vineyards are very close to each other, and we were talking before about this. And then we have Briccolina and Boscareto from Serra Lunga d'Alba, and another one is Vigneto Bofani Bussia. Bussia is another very famous and particular area for the Barolo. It's Vigneto Bofani. We are the only one to own the Vigneto Bofani. It's Bustia Bassana. Come si chiama?
Sì, è sottale.
Sorry.
Another question is, as the other part of the world, they also facing the climate changes. Do you have that situation also in Italy, and in specifically about the Barolo itself? Do the climate change is affected the grape and the style of the wine?
So if I can start and then I will explain. Of course, the climate change is affecting us as well, like everyone else. It is not that strong. What is stronger is the extreme weather. So we have sometimes problem with ice when it's raining ice, that we have more than in the past. Some year, like 3 years ago, we had a huge problem with the drought. So, or some year, we had too much water. So what we are facing is extreme weather. So or it's raining a lot, or it's raining not at all. So it's difficult balancing that. And like I was here last night, for example, and it's a strange experience even for me. Last night, because it started to rain, in some area, especially here in Barbaresco, they use now cannon when it's raining in order to disperse the cloud and avoid the ice. So they use new technology in order to protect the vineyards. And the cannon fire methane, some gas in the atmosphere. And so they disperse, they clear the cloud from the sky, technically. And so it's like to be in a war zone, because you can hear during the night the cannon fire all night. And trust me, I have a dog, he got really scared last night. So, yeah.
So that is not happening before. So the extreme weather never happened before. I mean, it's not as extreme like now.
No, il tempo no, parliamo degli anni 70, arrivare agli anni 80 era tutto diverso. C'era un clima molto diverso, cioè molto più freddo, c'era delle annate in autunno che magari pioveva per 15 giorni, il tempo di vendemmia, e quello non era buono.
In the 70s and in the 80s, the weather was much more colder than today. And we had, especially because the Nebbiolo is the latest grapes to be picked up in October, November. And so in that period, sometimes we had bad vintages because it was raining a lot. And now we don't have these things. We are facing now a shift in the weather. Like, for example, until 1 week ago here in Italy was quite chilled, like springtime or early spring. And then immediately, now we are 34. So we went from 18 to 34. And so we are facing the situation where we have a swift and a shift from winter to summer, and there's no mid-season. And then the summer starts much later compared to before. So it's starting now. And usually September, October, that is still summer. And before it was instead getting cooler in that time. So we have a shift in the season during the year compared to before, and definitely is warmer.
Il cambiamento del clima per noi qui nelle Langhe, cioè parliamo adesso in giro di 7-8 anni che il clima sta cambiando, e abbiamo avuto tutte annate di Barolo molto eccezionali, cioè non possiamo dire, tolto il 2002, tutte le altre annate sono state eccezionali. Perché? Perché il Barolo è un'uva che matura molto tardi, cioè a novembre, si fa la vendemmia ottobre-novembre, e già che quando incomincia il freddo, perché il nebbiolo si raccoglie nella nebbia, cioè quando qui incominciano le nebbie e si raccoglie il nebbiolo. Però con questo clima qua è molto importante per la maturazione dell'uva, che riesce a maturare bene e si riesce a fare un prodotto molto elevato, con qualità. Invece una volta, gli anni indietro, io mi ricordo, ci sono state diverse annate che il Barolo non si è fatto. Si è fatto vino rosso da tavola, ma non Barolo, perché il Barolo deve arrivare a un minimo di 13 gradi di alcol, e non si riusciva ad arrivare perché mancava il sole, mancava il caldo. E nelle esposizioni, nei vigneti un po' che guardavano il nord, era sempre più difficile. Oggi, come oggi, questo non succede più, cioè è una cosa abbastanza buona. Bisogna vedere però che non esageri, che non si arriva, perché adesso si raccoglie l'uva, se andiamo avanti così a ottobre, a settembre si raccoglie già i nebbioli, e questo non è buono, il nebbiolo va raccolto proprio quando incomincia il freddo.
Okay, so in our memory, our latest bad vintage was 2002. Actually, I was here with Fiorenzo because we lost all the grapes because of the ice, because it was the ice that was raining. After that, we had all good or really good vintages. And actually, it's really strange to say that, but with the global warming, we are having better wines because our region, we are close to the mountain. And so here we have more sun, and especially the Nebbiolo. The name Nebbiolo came from nebbia. Nebbia means fog in Italian language. And is the latest grapes to be picked up, as we said just now. So usually the harvest for the Nebbiolo is late October. In the 70s and the 80s until the 90s, it was really challenging for us because it started to be really cold here. And so some year was difficult to achieve the 30% alcohol or to achieve the maturation of the grapes. Now we don't have any more problem for the maturation, and we achieve actually 14.5% alcohol compared to before. Of course, this one has a limit. So now for us that we are in the north, close to the mountain, what has been happening until now has been a better production. But if the trend continue, we are going to overboard and we are going to have problem, because if it's getting warmer than what it is now, then it will be much more difficult. One, because the harvest now is earlier and earlier every year. So we are actually anticipating 1 week, 2 weeks every year we do earlier harvest. And second, to keep healthy the vineyards and the grapes is getting more challenging, because we have more parasite if it's getting too warm, for example. The good things for Batasiolo is the fact that we have a lot of vineyards, and all the vineyards has different altitude. So if we have a cold vintage, the grapes that are at the bottom of the hill are better. If we have a warm vintage, the ones that are at the top of the hill are better. Also, there's the opportunity that we are going to change what is our tradition here, because in the Langhe region, usually we don't plant vineyards above 400 meters, because above 400 meters in the old days was too cold. So there could be the necessity to move the vineyards higher in the hill compared to what it was before. That it could be a consequence if the trend for the global warming keep going in that direction. And then we are going to face some problem with the water that we never had until now. That is the other problem. We don't do artificial irrigation in Piedmont at the moment. We are not doing.
You're not doing because you're not allowed to, or because you just don't need it?
Technically, we are not allowed, and we didn't need it.
No.
Okay.
But at the moment, we are not allowed. You're right. You're totally right. We are not allowed.
But let's say that could be also changing if the global warming. The reason is because there's so many winery now is facing, like you said, they have to harvest early. They have to change a couple of the method because of the quality of the grape due to the weather changing. That's really really interesting to study, because we need to also be able to match with the condition, the current condition of what's happening in all over the place, basically. So that's why the reason that I'm asking. All right.
Yeah. Even for the grapes like the Moscato, we can ask to Fiorenzo, we are changing the date of the harvest, perché adesso qua la vendita del Moscato è anticipata molto rispetto al passato.
Comincia già a fine agosto, inizio di settembre.
At the end of August, we start with the Moscato.
Il problema del cambiamento del clima è che una volta le stagioni, cioè la vendemmia si cominciava a settembre con i bianchi, con i moscati. Il moscato si cominciava dal 20 di settembre in avanti e poi si arrivava al dolcetto, poi il barbera e l'ultimo il nebbiolo. Oggi è tutto diverso. Oggi si raccoglie tante volte prima il dolcetto del moscato, perché matura prima. Perché? Perché è il caldo. E allora tante volte è cambiata proprio, come si dice, tutta la situazione della maturazione dell'uva. È cambiata moltissimo, E tante volte c'è i nebbioli che una volta erano gli ultimi, adesso si raccolgono magari prima della Barbera. Cioè, questo è molto il clima proprio è questo che confonde e per la natura è questa, bisogna, quando è da raccogliere bisogna raccoglierla, è inutile lasciarla sulla pianta, cioè questo è il problema del clima.
No, the problem is that now once we used to harvest to start the harvest in September, and we finish at the end of October with the Nebbiolo grape, which is the latest harvest, latest in Italy also. And now sometime we have the Dolcetto ready before the Chardonnay, or it's really a big change in everything. So the Moscato is ready before, and we also have to do some work in the winery. We have to enlarge the winery because the grapes are ready before, are all ready before to, and so all the grapes come together
at the same time. Yeah.
And we didn't get the space to for all this amount of grape.
Okay.
But the Nebbiolo once was a really late harvest. The Nebbiolo, because Nebbia means fog, and it's a period of autumn. See, the real problem is for the changing weather. Yes.
All right. So hopefully everything is not push you to change the style of the wine. You know, just to keep it like now is still manageable.
No, lo stile del vino non cambia, cioè, specialmente nel Barolo bisogna sempre vedere per l'invecchiamento. Cioè, noi abbiamo avuto per esempio un 2003 che ha fatto molto caldo, e è stata un'annata caldissima. All'inizio, dopo i 3 anni di invecchiamento, il Barolo è eccezionale, cioè un'annata fantastico subito. Però dopo nell'invecchiamento non aveva una resistenza come gli altri, cioè le altre annate, che è meno caldo, dove il Barolo sapete benissimo che può andare a 20 anni, cioè 25 anni. Cioè, invece il 2003 era già, cioè, maturava subito prima, cioè andava dopo 5, 6, 10 anni specialmente, era già non passato, però con diverso. Cioè, questo è proprio il caldo.
So it's not the style that changed, but in the aging, you can see in the aging of the wines of the Barolo. Like Fiorenzo was saying, in 2003 was really very, very hot summer. And so the Barolo, after 5 to 7 years, they didn't age very, very well, like all the other vintage. And in 2002, we didn't produce the single vineyards. So,
okay.
But the style is always the same. Okay. But you can see the wine after the Barolo after many years with the aging. You can.
So,
you don't know.
Okay.
One thing I would like to remark to make it clear that is for everyone the same, the wine. If we have a really hot harvest period, the wine that will be produced will be ready to be drunk much earlier. So it doesn't need too much time to mature. At the same time, will not age well. And so if this Barolo, for example, is ready usually in, let's say, 5 years, 7 years, that wine is already ready in 3 years. But this wine then can stay for 20, 25 years. That it can stay maximum 10, 15 years, and then it starts to descend. It starts to, you know.
Yeah.
So in that sense, that is what you can change in the wine. If you get really hot, means that the wine will be ready to be drunk earlier, but it will not stay with us too long. It will not age for too long.
Okay. So I believe you would like to taste the wine and give us the tasting note, please.
Yeah.
Okay.
We
start with the with the Briccolina because of the vintage. We choose some different vintages, and this is the youngest. It's a 2011 Barolo Briccolina. No, Davide.
No, sorry that nobody else can drink. But, yeah. For us,
for you.
For us,
right. Please.
So.
Noi beviamo la vostra salute.
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 Allora,
Beh, Briccolina, come abbiamo detto, sarà lunga d'alba, cioè con un bel profumo, elegante.
So Bricolina is our small vineyard, very prestigious vineyards in Serralunga d'Alba. We produce only, like Davide said, 9,000 bottles of this one. And the nose of this wine is very, very elegant.
Molta vaniglia, che fa invecchiamento in barrique.
And it's the only one we age in the French barrique. All the other one, Barolo, we use the Slovenian oak big barrels. For this one, only for this one, we use the French barrique for like 30 months, and then one more year in the bottle. But we keep it at least 5 years in the winery before to release it. So the color, it's red, a typical Barolo color. I don't know if you can see color, but it's ruby red, like some orange.
Yeah.
And the nose is very complex, very spicy, and a little vanilla because of the barrique.
Un vino che ha molta ancora durata, può durare ancora sui 10 anni, non ci sono problemi questo vino qua.
You can keep it 10 years more, this wine. This is 2011, but you can age many years.
Telepon aja, teleponkan aja, Ibu nggak bisa angkat.
Non lo so.
Stavo in bassa per cui.
Sorry. Yes, please.
No, I thought it was a question.
No. Yeah.
So this is a different kind of soil. This is very rich in limestone and calcium. It's different from the La Morra.
So you always produce every vintage you produce, or you skip some of them because of the condition, or you always have the vintage?
We skip the 2002.
2002, okay.
Yes, but all the latest vintage were really very, very good.
Okay.
Se tu salti qualche...
Passiamo alla brunata.
So now we continue with the brunate che hanno 10.
Brunate 10.
Ti davanti a quello che vediamo. This is the Brunate 2010, which is a vineyard in La Morra. So it's more sandy soil.
Qui abbiamo già un profumo diverso dal Bricolina.
Completely different nose of the Bricolina.
Un naso, diciamo, sa più di rose secche.
More like a dry rose.
Colore aranciato, diciamo sempre tipico.
The color also
del
is
Barolo.
Ruby orange, typical color of the.
Anche se c'è solo un anno di differenza.
Barolo. Only 1 year different from the other one, the previous one. Little balsamic on the nose.
Si sente molto la vaniglia, il legno si sente pochissimo legno, anzi che fai 3 anni nel legno, però 2 anni nel legno però si sente poco.
It's aged in the big Slavonian oak, so you can't feel the wood, the too much vanilla or the wood. It's ready to drink now. It's very smooth. The tannins, of course, are typical in the Barolo. You can feel the tannins and the acidity of the wine, but this is a particular smooth, it's very smooth Barolo.
È tipico proprio di La Morra, cioè chi conosce proprio i terreni di La Morra, questi sono proprio i veri Baroli tipici del comune di La Morra.
Typical Barolo from La Morra. Facciamo pure anche così.
No, facciamo prima boffa, che non abbiamo altre navi.
So we continue with the Vigneto Bofani in Bussia, 2009. In Vigneto Bofani, we also have a guest house, a very nice guest house. It's in the middle of the vineyards, very quiet, very nice.
Allora, qui siamo sotto il comune di Monforte d'Alba.
So this is Monforte d'Alba.
La Bussia. La Bussia è una collina che parte da Barolo, va su fino a Monforte, al comune di Monforte.
La Bussia, it's in Monforte, it's a hill, big hill in Monforte d'Alba.
Qui abbiamo un'annata 2009 e si vede già nel colore che è molto più aranciato in confronto agli altri due che abbiamo visto prima, cioè 2010 e 2011.
So the color is different, it's more orange than the previous wines because of the 2009, the age.
Questo fa l'invecchiamento, sempre nel legno c'è il rovere.
This is also in the big barrels, Slavonian oak.
Fa 2 anni e sempre 1 anno in bottiglia.
It's about 2 years, 30 months in the big barrel and then in the bottle.
If you would like, we can send to you the tasting notes of every Barolo that we are tasting today related to the vintage.
Sure, thank you.
So you can forward to all the people that
Yes.
are assisting today, are watching today the website.
Thank you so much. So you're saying that you're using the French barrique, but also the Slovakia barrel, right? What is the main different character of the oak influence to the wine between these two?
Qual è il carattere perché in uno usi la
Sì, dipende molto
che ti danno.
dal vigneto, cioè dalla posizione dell'uva, da dove arriva l'uva, che si appresta di più a un tipo come il barrique, per esempio la briccolina, dopo tanti anni di prove che abbiamo fatto, si appresta molto di più al barrique, cioè perché è un'uva sempre nebbiosa, sempre più acida, più diversa, e il barrique cioè, fa la morbidezza e la vaniglia. Poi invece prendiamo tutti gli altri vigneti tipo Bussia che stiamo assaggiando adesso, tipo Tantesi, sono già nella rovere di Slavogna in una botte diciamo più grande. Cioè così il vino riesce a uscire con meno legno perché non si può bere un vino quando sa solo di legno, cioè sembra segatura. Cioè,
It depends on the vineyards and on the grape. The use of the barrique and the big barrels, because we choose the French barrique for the Bricolina after many years of changing and trying, because of it's a very old vineyard, and we are replanting a piece every year, and it's because of the high acidity of the grape. It's better to age in the French barrique, so the wines come smoother and more elegant and more vanilla. But we tried with all of the vineyards a small amount. We tried every year, and so we decide every vineyard is different from the other. Like this one, the Bofani, Vigneto Bofani, is more clay. The soil, and it's very good grape for the big barrels. The big barrels, it's the very traditional Barolo style.
How many liter is the big barrel?
I said we have the 10,000 liters, but you can have how many liters you need. But we have the 10,000 liters barrels, very big.
Invece abbiamo un Cerecchio.
So the next one is Cerecchio
2008.
2008.
Colore ancora abbastanza vivo, cioè anche se è 2008, però vedi che è un bel colore.
2008, but the color is very alive, like it's not old, it's not too much orange.
Ancora un bel profumo, cioè di vaniglia si sente, c'è un bel profumo diciamo sempre un po' di rose, tipo brunate.
So the nose is like a more dry rose, like the brunate, but it's the particular of the Cerecchio is it's very balsamic and some menthol, typical of the Cerecchio.
Il 2008 è proprio...
And some fruit, dry fruit, like...
Molto morbido,
like
i
cherry.
tannini, non senti più neanche i tannini, cioè
really smooth. And this 2008 Cereco is really wonderful vintage. And it's in the mouth, it's like a velvet, it's very smooth.
No, sono grandi vini, solo che purtroppo la produzione è limitata, cioè il vigneto è solo
great
quello.
wines, but limited production.
So you said you export to all over the world, right? So which country is the highest for export, Davide?
You're talking about in Asia or you're talking about in the world?
In the world.
But traditionally for the Italian wineries, then every company has different history and relation. But the German-speaking countries, so Germany, Switzerland, Austria, are the largest market for Italian wines. And now, of course, the largest market in the world is US. And plus in US, we have a large Italian community.
And Canada.
And of course, Canada. Expat. So we have a lot of Italian people that they move second generation, third generation, they move there. And so we have a lot of that. Also because historically in the movies for Italy, the wine business, we enter in a market through the restaurant. So first we enter in the Italian restaurant and then the people they start to know us and we do the wine shop and the retail. In Asia, of course, that is for everyone. You have to consider that in Asia, 70% of the wine imported in general is Japan. So for France and for Italy, Japan is the only mature market that we have in Asia. And now we have developing countries that are getting mature. And so we have Korea, we have Taiwan, we have Thailand, and we have Indonesia as well. Indonesia, like everybody knows, we have some issue every year with the quota, so there's a little bit of complication on the way, but outside that is definitely a market that is growing for us, especially Jakarta for the big red bottled wines is an important market for us. And so Jakarta, because we started with Fiorenzo 20 years ago to go to Jakarta.
Really?
And so yeah, we started before 2000.
Ci ricordiamo i primi viaggi che si faceva in Asia, il Barolo non neanche sapeva che cos'era, cioè pochissimi che conoscevano il Barolo. Oggi invece no, oggi vediamo che anche tutta l'Asia stanno andando sui vini di qualità, cioè di vini di alto livello, e questo è importante, è molto importante.
The first time that I was traveling with Fiorenzo to Jakarta was the end of the 90s. And the Barolo was still not well known as a wine category, as an appellation. Today is totally different. But to give you a clear example, Fiorenzo told me the same experience that he had in the 70s when he started selling in the US. And I had the same experience in Asia, for example, in Korea. You have to imagine that until 2010, 50% of all the Italian wines imported in Korea were Moscato. So, and that is normal because the people, they start from there. Also, Moscato was really popular in Indonesia and is still now, more in the secondary city now. So the people, they approach the wine from the sweet point. And then they mature and they start to go to red and more important. So it's a process of learning process. So all the time I repeat the same experience I had, for example, in my life for coffee. When I went to my grandmother's kitchen, I was a kid, 10 years old. I saw this glass, I thought it was Coca-Cola, instead it was old coffee. I tried, I throw up. Today, probably I'm having between 10 to 15 espresso per day. So I'm the same person.
Only Davide, no, not all the Italian, not only Davide.
But now, so, you know, you have to train your palate to taste and to enjoy some wine. So usually, everybody, when they start to drink wines, they started from Lambrusco, from Moscato, and they move up the ladder and they go to more mature wines. It's a normal process that I had and everybody in the world has. But definitely, especially Indonesia for us, because we are lucky that we have an importer that are also friends, we are having really some amazing results. and we are really happy about the response that we have from the public. Because now also recently we start to travel to secondary cities, to secondary cities, and the people, they start to enjoy the wines. So it's important for us. So, and since we have also people from Australia, some guests from Australia. In Australia, historically in Sydney, Melbourne, and a lot of other cities, we have been exporting there for a long time. And of course, it's a wine country. So they have knowledge and the people they enjoy. Also in Australia, Melbourne, I think that for us is the third largest Italian city because we have a lot of Italians living in Melbourne. So we have the advantage that we have a lot of people from our country there.
Okay. So meaning that you enter the business through the Italian restaurant as the first window, and then you go with the rest of the market. Right.
Yeah, because the consumer, they get familiar with the wine, with the appellation, with the type of wines through the Italian restaurant, and then they start to buy for home consumption through wine shop, retail, etc. But the Italian wines are the first door for a new market.
Okay. All right. There's another question from the participant. Did you produce grappa as well?
Produci grappa?
Yeah.
Sì.
Facciamo grappa, 3 grappe, Moscato, Chardonnay e Barolo. Sono 3 grappe che la produce la Batasiolo.
3 different grappas produced by us. It's Moscato, Chardonnay and Barolo.
Okay.
Se non abbiamo neanche una bottiglia.
Vabbè, era una domanda.
What is the main different taste character between this grappa produced with 3 different grapes?
I caratteri differenti delle grappe.
Vabbè, la Moscato è più morbida, diciamo, perché già l'uva è sempre già un'uva molto più dolce, più il Nebbiolo da Barolo è una grappa con una certa sostanza più ruvida, diciamo, più strutturata, e invece il Chardonnay è una grappa non leggera, ma però sempre 40 gradi, 42 di distillato, però nel profumo e nel gusto è molto molto più morbida a confronto a quella di Barolo.
So it's quite the same difference you can find in the wines, the same, because of course the Barolo it's the strongest and more, and the Moscato it's a smoother, and Chardonnay it's also a very strong. The grappa is strong.
Yeah.
The Moscato is the smoother one.
Ok, qui siamo a un Barolo Boscareto.
Now we have the Boscareto, and then we pick up old vintage.
2006.
It's 6.
2006. Okay.
So it's 2006 because we wanted to share with you this old vintage, and you can see the color. It's more granite and more orange. But it's still a ruby color. And the nose is very elegant, very complex and spicy. More like cherries, when you have cherries in the alcohol. And like a wood.
Peccato che non possiamo farvelo assaggiare.
Sorry, you can taste with us.
We have the spirit of tasting with you.
This also, it's a limestone clay soil, and it's very good for aging. It's the best place in the Barolo area for aging the Barolo. So you can age this one 10 years more.
E come sempre abbiamo detto prima, il Boscareto è sempre inutile, Serralunga, la collina di Serralunga, i Baroli sono sempre come lasciarli lì, dimenticarli.
It's for the long aging wine, and this is the more traditional Barolo that we produce. It's the very typical Barolo in the Slavonian oak, the big barrels. So the color for the first one is very, very different. And the complexity of this wine is really fantastic. Very elegant. High in alcohol and of course very high in tannins.
Un vino che ha ancora una resistenza di 7-8 anni.
Still very fresh. and the high in acidity. It's a beautiful wine.
Yeah. So jealous with all of you. So I have my mouth watering, you know, want to taste the wine so bad.
It's our breakfast.
Oh, that's true. It's your breakfast.
Of course, for the Barolo, you need to pair with the right food, with some meat or some very complex dishes.
Ma
No.
questo con una bella bistecca alta così è fantastico.
All right then. There's a couple of people saying thank you so much for the opportunity. So Jenny from Australia say thank you so much for attending the session. Very interesting. I believe that all of us is very honored to have the tasting note directly from the owner and also the winemaker, the person behind of the company. That's really honor for us to have. I believe this.
I will make sure that I will send you the tasting notes so you can share with everyone.
Sure. And later on, maybe when you stop by, there's also Budi. No, I think Eric was mentioned. Say hi to Davide and make sure you come with the truffle next time. So you will have the truffle party again in Bali.
Okay.
Ci lasciano viaggiare, ve le portiamo.
As soon as we can travel, we come with the travel.
I really hope that they can come to Bali in September, October. I really hope.
Yeah,
really
true. All right. Can say that let's have a tasting soon with Batasiolo Barolo. We still have few bottles in Bali, so that's a promise from Ken.
Ciao.
So that is an invitation from Pak Ken to invite everybody to have the tasting soon in Batasiolo for the Batasiolo Barolo. We still, and then at least. When that happened, we also call you and you can, you know, the opposite. We are doing the testing and giving us the expression of the wine. All right. Anything from your side? Otherwise, we will...
Grazie a voi, grazie a tutti. Mi dispiace che non possiamo vederci di persona davanti, che sarebbe molto meglio fare una degustazione insieme. Comunque grazie a voi tutti e vi aspettiamo tutti alla Batasiolo quando si può viaggiare.
Thank you all for participating. We are sorry we can't be together and we can't drink together, but as soon as you can, we wait for you here at the Batasiolo.
Però oggi noi abbiamo bevuto, altrimenti se non c'era questa conversazione non potevamo neanche bere questi vini qua, invece con la scusa li abbiamo assaggiati, li abbiamo bevuti. Grazie.
Thank you for this tasting, because otherwise we were not gonna drink all this wine today.
So we're giving you a good excuse then.
Yes, a good excuse to open the 2006, yes.
Also, on behalf of Fiorenzo and Paola, my personal pledge, I would like to thank you for organizing this.
Of course, thank you very much.
Sorry, there's a distraction.
That's everyone
So
now.
please silent. There's a somebody just coming with. Okay, very sorry. So once again, thank you so much for the session. It was very honor for us. It was very interesting session to learn right away from the heart of the Barolo and tell us all everything. We will share the video recording of this session. As well as the presentation that Davide present just now, and also the testing note. As soon as I'm receiving the testing note, I'm also sending to all of you for your further review, and also later on when you are testing the wine, you can actually see the tasting note and you find out about the.
Ri, gimana cara ibu ngetik?
Ibu
Gimana cara ngetiknya?
Okay. Okay, so once again, thank you so much. Looking forward to seeing you soon in Bali or in Jakarta or even in Italy.
Yes, really soon.
Right, so hope everybody is in a good condition and we are soon seeing each other in person. Thank you so much on behalf of the Indonesia Sommelier Association. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Ciao, Ken.
All right, ciao. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Thank you.
Ciao. Bye bye.
Ah, ecco.
Excellent. All right. Bye-bye.
Automaticamente.
Lascio?
No, sta fuori.